The shadow of the cross begins to fall long before the nails are hammered. Season 6 of The Chosen does not open with peace or comfort. It opens with a feeling that the end is coming. Every look on the disciples' faces, every word from Jesus's mouth carries the weight of what is about to unfold. The trailer does not whisper. It declares, "The time of testing has arrived and nothing will ever be the same again." The trailer wastes no time reminding us that the story has reached its most dangerous point. Roman soldiers march through the streets of Jerusalem, their armor clashing as the sound of oppression fills the air. Crowds gather, restless and suspicious, and the whispers about Jesus grow louder. Some call him a prophet, some call him a blasphemer, others wait for him to lead a revolution. The camera lingers on his calm face and we can feel the storm pressing in on every side. What makes this moment powerful is not just the threat from outside, but the cracks forming within his closest circle. The disciples look uncertain, their voices heavy with fear. Peter clenches his fists, torn between faith and doubt. John follows close, his eyes filled with love yet shadowed by dread. Judas keeps to the back, his face half hidden, as if the camera itself knows what he is preparing to do. We are not just watching events. We are watching hearts being tested in the fire of destiny. The voiceover in the trailer speaks words that cut deeper than any sword. Jesus says that the time has come. He speaks of betrayal, sacrifice, and the will of his Father. These words land on the disciples like a thunderclap. They had walked with him through miracles, storms, and countless wonders. Yet this moment is different. The joy of following him now mixes with the fear of losing him. Every scene feels like a countdown, and the trailer makes sure we feel the weight of that clock ticking. Visually, the tone is darker than any season before. Torches burn against the night sky. The temple looms in the background like a mountain of judgment. Roman banners sway over the crowd, reminding us that death and power rule this land. Against that backdrop, Jesus walks with a quiet strength. He does not shout. He does not tremble. He moves with purpose, knowing what awaits him. That contrast creates a powerful tension, one man's peace against the fury of the world, and then the trailer cuts sharply. The sound drops. We see only the disciples' faces one by one. Their eyes tell the story better than words. Some are breaking. Some are burning with courage. Some are haunted, knowing they will soon fail him. It is not just the story of a savior. It is the story of fragile men standing on the edge of history. The trailer gives us just enough to feel their fear, and enough to make us long for what happens next. The trailer begins to press harder on the theme of betrayal. It shows us glimpses that are not loud but heavy. Judas appears more than once, always at the edge of the group, never in the center. His eyes shift quickly, his voice quiet, his steps slightly behind the others. The camera treats him like a shadow among the disciples, reminding the audience that trust is breaking from within. His silence is more terrifying than any threat from Rome. There is a moment where Jesus looks directly at the group. His words are steady, but they cut through the air like a blade. He says that one of them will hand him over. The disciples are stunned. Some clutch their robes. Others whisper to themselves. The weight of his statement is unbearable. The trailer holds that moment, not with noise but with silence. A silence so strong that it feels louder than a battle cry. It is a silence filled with fear and guilt, because each man knows his own weakness. The Romans are not hidden either. The trailer flashes scenes of soldiers preparing their weapons, priests whispering in dark corners, and leaders of the Sanhedrin plotting in secret chambers. These images create a picture of a world closing in on Jesus from every direction. Yet the most painful detail is that his greatest wound will not come from an enemy. It will come from a friend. That is the heart of the betrayal, and the trailer makes sure we feel the sting of it. In one shot, we see Judas clutching a bag of coins, his hands shaking as if the silver burns his skin. His face is pale, his eyes wet, yet he does not stop. The camera does not need to say the word betrayal. It shows it. It makes us watch as love and loyalty are sold for a price that is far too small to measure the cost. That image lingers in the mind long after the scene moves on. But betrayal is not the only weight carried in these moments. The disciples themselves begin to unravel. The trailer shows their fear of being arrested, their doubts about standing by Jesus when the danger becomes real. Peter shouts, his anger rising, his faith clashing with his weakness. John falls to his knees in prayer, begging for strength. Mary looks on with tears that tell the story of a mother's heart breaking before her eyes. Every character is pulled deeper into the storm, and the audience feels the current pulling them as well. The brilliance of the trailer lies in how it does not just show events. It shows the cost of those events on the human soul. Betrayal is not presented as a twist in the story. It is presented as a wound that bleeds across every face, every word, every silence. The audience knows what is coming, but the pain is in watching the ones closest to Jesus struggle, knowing they cannot stop what has already been written. The trailer begins to shift its tone from whispers of betrayal to the roar of judgment. We see torches lighting the streets of Jerusalem at night, the city alive with unrest. Roman soldiers force their way through the crowd, pushing people aside with shields and spears. The temple leaders gather in secret, their faces filled with anger and fear. They are not just plotting against a man, they are plotting against everything he represents. The tension climbs higher with every frame, and the air feels heavy with what is about to happen. Then the camera shows Jesus standing before them. His face is calm, his eyes steady. Yet the weight of the moment is undeniable. He does not fight. He does not run. He simply stands as if he has already accepted the fate that no one else can carry. Around him, the noise rises. Soldiers bark orders. Leaders whisper accusations. The disciples are scattered in the shadows, watching from a distance, their hearts torn between courage and fear. The scene feels like the silence before a storm breaks across the sky. The trailer cuts to quick flashes that leave the audience breathless. A Roman whip being uncoiled. A crowd shouting louder and louder. A courtroom filled with tension as the Sanhedrin demand proof of guilt. Every image is sharp, every sound echoes with dread. These glimpses are not the full story, but they are enough to remind us of where this path leads. It is no longer about teaching, no longer about miracles. It is about power, fear, and sacrifice colliding in a way that will change history. What makes the trial scenes even more powerful is the contrast between Jesus and those around him. His voice is quiet, but every word carries truth. The leaders shout with anger, yet their eyes reveal insecurity. Pilate appears in the trailer too, his expression conflicted, torn between justice and political survival. The trailer shows his hands trembling as he looks at the man before him. A ruler with power, yet powerless before the truth. That conflict becomes a mirror for the audience, asking them what they would choose if faced with the same moment. The disciples are shown again, hiding in the crowd. Peter watches with burning eyes, his heart breaking, yet his fear chaining him to silence. John prays in the shadows, desperate for strength. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is seen in a moment that lasts only seconds, but her face carries more than words can express. A mother watching her son stand alone, knowing that she cannot take his place, knowing that the world is about to take him from her. It is a moment of unbearable pain, and the trailer captures it with haunting clarity. The sound design pushes the weight of the trial even further. The beating of a drum echoes in the background. The clash of metal rings out like thunder. Voices overlap, shouts and cries mixing into chaos, yet through it all his words stand out. My kingdom is not of this world. The line is brief, but it cuts through the storm like lightning across a dark sky. The audience is left shaken, knowing that truth has been spoken, even as lies surround him. This section of the trailer makes one thing clear: the end is not far away. The trial is not just a judgment on Jesus. It is a judgment on everyone who stands around him. Soldiers, leaders, disciples, even the crowd. Every choice they make will echo through time. And as the trailer fades to black, the question is left hanging in the air: who will stand with him and who will turn away? The trailer does not end with the trial. It pushes further into the darkness of what is about to come. The shadow of the cross falls across every scene, and the music shifts from heavy drums to a mournful echo. We see the streets of Jerusalem, filled with anger, filled with voices demanding blood. The crowd presses forward, fists in the air, faces twisted with rage. They are not asking for truth. They are demanding death. The camera shows Jesus walking, his steps slow but steady. Soldiers surround him with spears raised, yet his face is calm. Each step feels like the earth itself trembles, as if creation knows what is about to happen. The disciples watch from the distance, their bodies hidden, their souls crushed. They want to move, but fear holds them like chains. We see Peter with tears streaming down his face, knowing that his denial has already come true. We see John clutching his cloak, wanting to run forward but unable to break through the sea of soldiers. The trailer flashes to Mary, her face pale yet unbroken. Her eyes follow her son, every step carving into her heart. She does not cry out, but the silence of a mother's pain screams louder than the crowd. The camera holds her for only a moment, but that moment says everything. This is not just the story of a savior. It is the story of a son, a mother, and a love that will not be erased even by death. Then comes the most haunting image, the cross itself, dragged across the ground, wood grinding against stone. The sound echoes like thunder. It is not shown in full, only in glimpses. A beam of wood carried across shoulders, the marks of blood staining the grain. The audience knows what it means without the trailer ever needing to explain. The cross is no longer a symbol in the distance. It is here, real, heavy, waiting. The music rises, mixing sorrow with strength. The disciples' faces appear again, torn between despair and hope. Some turn away, unable to watch. Others stare, as if burning the moment into their memory. The trailer gives us no comfort, only the raw truth that the end is near. Yet in that darkness there is still a strange light. Jesus does not stumble in fear. He does not curse the ones who condemn him. He walks with purpose, as if every step is chosen, as if the cross is not the end but the beginning of something greater. The closing shots are quick, powerful, and unforgettable. A hammer striking metal, a crowd roaring, the sky darkening, and then silence as the screen fades to black. No answers, no resolution, only the weight of what we know is coming. The trailer leaves the audience breathless, forcing them to carry the question: how will this season tell the story of the end, and will it also show us the hope beyond it? The trailer does not give us every answer. Instead, it leaves space for questions that shake the heart and stir the mind. Viewers are already asking, will Season 6 take us fully to the crucifixion, or will it hold back and end at the arrest, saving the cross for the final season? The pacing of the scenes, the heavy silence in the final shots, suggests that we may see the beginning of his suffering, but perhaps not the full end yet. This decision would allow the show to stretch the most painful and powerful story across more episodes, drawing the audience deeper into the weight of every step. Another theory that fans are sharing is about Judas. The trailer shows him often, his face pale, his hand gripping silver coins, his eyes full of conflict. But will the show explore his inner torment more deeply than ever before? Some believe Season 6 might give us long scenes of Judas torn apart by guilt before his final act. Others believe his betrayal will come suddenly, shocking both the disciples and the audience. The mystery of how the writers will frame Judas's role has become one of the most debated points after the trailer dropped. There is also speculation about how the show will portray Pilate. The quick flashes suggest a man caught between politics and conscience. Will he be shown as a cold ruler, or as a man struggling with the weight of condemning someone he knows to be innocent? The trailer hints at both, leaving us to wonder which side of Pilate's character will dominate. This could add an entirely new layer of complexity to the story, making the trial not only about Jesus but also about the weakness of human power when faced with truth. Fans are also asking how much focus will fall on Mary and the women who followed Jesus. The brief moment of Mary's silent sorrow could mean that this season will dive more deeply into their perspective, seeing the end not only through the eyes of the disciples, but also through the tears of a mother and the courage of women who never turned away, could make Season 6 one of the most emotional chapters yet. And finally, the question of hope. The trailer is heavy with darkness, yet in every scene there is a hint of light. The calm on Jesus' face, the words he speaks with steady conviction, the quiet strength of his steps, all point to a truth greater than death. Will the season end with despair, or will it end with a promise? Some believe the final scene may not be the crucifixion itself, but a foreshadowing of the resurrection. A single image, a single line, reminding us that the story does not end on the cross. The power of this trailer lies not only in what it shows, but in what it refuses to show. The unanswered questions become part of the tension. The silence becomes part of the message. And as viewers, we are left not only with fear of the end, but with a burning need to see how the story unfolds. What makes this trailer different from any before is not only the story of Jesus, but the way it reaches into the hearts of the audience. Every frame seems designed to make us feel like we are standing in the crowd, close enough to hear the roar of the people and the heavy steps of the soldiers. It does not let us remain distant observers. It pulls us into the story, as if we too must decide whether we will stand with him or turn away when fear takes over. The disciples' faces become mirrors for us. Peter's guilt reflects our own failures. John's devotion reflects our longing to stay near to hope. Mary's silent grief reflects the sorrow we feel when life tears away someone we love. Judas, torn between silver and loyalty, reflects the choices we make when we trade what is priceless for what is temporary. In this way, the trailer does not just tell us what happened 2,000 years ago. It asks us what we would do if we were there. If we were pressed by fear, by doubt, by the weight of the cross. The music in this section rises and falls like a heartbeat. It is not background sound. It feels alive, carrying the same rhythm as the tension inside our own chest. When the drums echo, we feel our pulse quicken. When the strings rise in sorrow, we feel our breath catch. This is more than storytelling. It is emotional design, carefully crafted to hold the viewer inside the storm of the moment. Even in the darkness, there are glimpses of light. A look in Jesus' eyes, filled with peace that does not break. A disciple reaching out his hand, even if only in desperation. A mother's gaze that refuses to turn away, even when the world demands silence. These flashes remind us that love and faith do not vanish, even when fear grows loud. They remind us that the story of Jesus is not only about death, but about a love stronger than death itself. The emotional pull of this trailer lies in its honesty. It does not paint the disciples as heroes who never faltered. It does not hide the fear, the doubt, the betrayal. Instead, it shows them as human, men and women struggling to understand, struggling to hold on, struggling to keep faith in the face of impossible pain. That honesty is what makes the story powerful, because it speaks directly to us. We are not different. We too stumble. We too doubt. We too look for courage in the shadows. By the time this section of the trailer ends, the audience is no longer asking only what will happen. They are asking how much their own hearts can endure watching it unfold. They know the story. They know the end. Yet the emotion is so raw that it feels like living it for the first time. And that is the brilliance of Season 6. It does not just show us history. It makes us feel history as if it is alive, as if it is happening now, as if we are walking that road beside him. The trailer ends not with answers, but with a silence that feels louder than any words. The screen fades to black, yet the images remain carved into the mind, the cross being dragged, the disciples trembling in the shadows, the crowd roaring with fury, and Jesus walking forward with a strength that no power on earth can break. This is the beginning of the end, yet it also feels like the beginning of something greater, something eternal. Season 6 does not promise comfort. It promises truth. It promises pain. It promises the story that changed the world, told with raw honesty and emotion. The disciples will be tested. Judas will reveal his betrayal. Pilate will face his choice. and Mary will stand in silent sorrow as a mother who cannot stop what must come to pass. Every frame of this trailer tells us one thing. We are stepping into the darkest hour, and we must be ready to feel its weight. But within that darkness, the spark of hope still shines. The calm in Jesus' eyes, the steadiness of his voice, the love that refuses to bend even under the cross. All of it reminds us that this story is not only about death. It is about life that comes after death, light that comes after night, and hope that rises even when the world tries to bury it. The trailer makes it clear, the end is near, but it is not the final end. As viewers, we are left with questions that demand reflection. How will the show bring us through this storm? How will it carry the weight of the crucifixion? Will it end with despair, or will it end with a glimpse of resurrection? These questions are not just for the characters. They are for us. What do we see when we watch his suffering? What do we feel when we walk beside him in this hour of darkness? This is why Season 6 is more than a series. It is an invitation to witness, to feel, to reflect, and to remember. The trailer is not only a preview of what is to come, it is a call to prepare our hearts for a story that is greater than any season before, a story that demands we stay until the very end. So now the question is yours. Are you ready to face the end of Jesus' journey in The Chosen? Are you ready to walk the road to the cross and see the hope that lies beyond? The end is coming, and you cannot look away.